What's going on, traders? Welcome to my stream. Today's Tuesday, and I had a really good trade for Mago. Mago this morning had news that we had 50 million Bitcoin treasury investment, and the stock spiked in the morning from like $1.60 up to about $4, and then due to the float structure, this stock was gapping up around 300%. I think about 200%. And due to this flow structure, we discussed that this could be, short based on the pre-market highs at around open. So I ended up shorting at around 360, and I covered at like 250. I ended up netting um 32,099 on one ticker. So let's talk about all that and my trades on this ticker. These are the trades and my P&L for this ticker. So MNGO is very basic. We came into our radar over here and it was extremely, actually my first long was over here, 210. Actually my first long 211, and actually sold at 217 because all this chop. So initially I saw this downtrend right about here, right there, and I started buying it. This is the area that I started seeing it. Anyway, I looked at the chart. The chart was trying to break 220, so we're over here. So in my mind, if I would have bought it at 220, I looked at the next resistance point is 270. So I was planning to buy it at 220 or 215 and to go to 270. That was my initial plan. And right about here, this is where it gets interesting. As you know, I scan around 7 stocks at the same time. So I was looking at all the other tickers, and these other tickers were not holding VWAP, and this stock was the only stock holding VWAP. VWAP is displayed by this red line right about here. So what I did was I actually relonged it. I actually had some 240-ish. So my first trade was over here. Oh, let's see, we can. So my first trade was this one. So I made like nothing. Initially, I started chasing it a little bit more. I started chasing it at 470 and 430, and then 440. So right here, I gathered around 25,000 share position, and then I made huge bank. I made around I think it was a 10% win on 25,000 position. I could have gotten a little bit sooner. My plan was to pretty much buy it as we pretty much we made a higher high on the 1 minute and try to sell into next resistance point of 274. Soon enough, I did. So I sold most at 274, and sadly, I sold most right here from here to here. I sold most of it, and actually had 220 long. And soon enough, the ticker actually exploded here to 360. So this is where things get interesting, in my opinion, because the stock was gapping up, and you can see MLGO here. The stock at that point, right about here, I think if I were gonna see, right about here at about 4 o'clock. Let me look at the pre-market scan right here at around, what is it? Right here at around 9 o'clock. Let me see, what is the percentage gains? So what I like to do is I usually like to scan them by percentage gains. As you can see, so here Mogo was up around 200%, and the float on it was around 20 million. So 20 million is a pretty high number, because it wasn't like a micro float. It was more of a medium-sized float. And as you might not already know, for a stock to be up, 200% on a 20 milli float is pretty big. So what I did was I started a short position, risking off the pre-market highs. So I usually waited until the stock made a pre-market high. So the pre-market high was $4. So I started short right around here, about 380. Let's see if I got some 380s filled. I got right here. right here, 368 and 375. Right here. These are my sell orders right here. So right here, I think those are it. No, those are no, I'm sorry. These are my sell orders. No, these are my sell orders. So I initially bought it long. As you can see that what did I just press? So as you can see that I initially bought it long, and I bought it long from like 270 to 240. I bought it long 230 and sold 275. And now I started short. So my shorts were right here, right here. This was my first short, right here, right here, 379 and then 351. These are my two big shorts that I actually hit on it. 379. So these were my shorts. My first shorts was right here. And then as we came back and we got a confirmation, I actually added to 351. And after that, it was just straight to the gutter. I covered most of my shares right here, between around 286 to 265. I covered most 295, 289. My best cover was 252. So this was a big chunk of my profit. And what I did was I also waited until the stock bounced. I actually reshorted right about here. I actually told the chat just now that I actually reshorted. Right here, I told the chat right here, re-enter short Mogo 303, plan to cover at the market's close. So I reshorted it right about here. It actually squeezed against me for about 20 cents. And then after it squeezed for 20 cents, it crashed just like that for 40 cents. So I was like, phew, that was a good hold. So the plan was here to short the bounce and then cover into the wash. Soon enough, I covered into the wash, and that was it. So my trade has been a total of around 32K on this ticker. I actually did take two losses. As you can see, that's not really my that's not really my average. That's not really how much I made today, because I did take two losers. So don't like think I don't take losses. So my P&L actually looks something like this right now. As you can see, I took actually a haircut over here and a haircut over here. So I'm not really up 32 because I do make stupid mistakes. But the majority of, the bulk of my profit was in Mogo. A lot of traders keep asking me like, what exactly are you supposed to do? Because a lot of these tickers are pretty much, they favor shorts. And I keep telling them that we're in summer trading. The majority of these tickers are going to be short. So I do recommend having a broker that, recommends, I'll show you a couple of tickers that were pretty much short. I don't know. There were like three tickers if I were gonna remember. There we go. There's one right here. There's this ticker that I was pointing out to the chat. This is a short the daily resistance right about here at around 370 ELWS this morning. And there was another ticker, another short the daily resistance WNT. So, these tickers that I pointed out to the chat. So, actually I was long on them sadly. But during summer trading, these tickers are primarily short bias. Either what I've been seeing is either short daily resistance on two of them, or if you wake up in the morning and try to catch the one mover. Today, the one mover was Mogo, and try to day trade it as it goes higher. I should have rebought Mogo to tell you the truth, because I didn't really think it's gonna go so high. I should have rebought it right about here, right here, I think, right here at around 320, and it actually went to $4. So I could have rebought this wedge here. It went up much higher than we all thought. Mogo daily resistance, if I were going to look at the daily, was around 430. You can see on the daily here. I didn't think we're gonna push to 4. I actually didn't think it was gonna break the pre-market highs because it did have room. If you see so on the daily here, you look at some resistance levels. It had resistance at 430. We were discussing that. But I didn't think we're gonna get up to 430. And if we did get up to 420, I would have thought it was gonna immediately reject. And soon enough, it actually did. We hit 380 and immediately rejected down to 260. That's the thing. It's about tracking data. If it was a micro float that was gapping up 300%, you could have went up another 200% or another 100%. But this ticker had a 20 milli float, and a 20 milli float is around 20 times as big as a micro float. Let's confirm. Let's look on Finviz and confirm how big the float is. So you pretty much go on Finviz, you type Mogo, and then you look at the shares float right here, and it says 20.50 million. So the market cap's around 63 million. So it's more in the medium size. It's not in the small size. So it's a pretty tiny, pretty medium sized float. So the bigger the float, the less you're going to expect once the market opens, especially if it's gapping up 200%. It has a very high probability of selling off. So that's about it. Took my profit on these tickers, and you might wonder like why exactly I reshorted on the VWAP bounce. The reason I reshorted the VWAP bounce because I reserved the shares, and I'm paying to borrow these shares. Like I'm paying a lot of money to borrow these shares, and what I want to explain to you guys, you can cover your short and reshort it again, and you don't have to repay the borrow fee. So even if you were long, even if you were short, a lot of traders made money, especially long. I mean, I've seen tons of traders in the chat room just longing it at like 220 and selling it at 240 and then relonging it at 230 and selling it 270 and then relong it again. So it was it was a really amazing opportunity on this stock that went up 200% for a long and a short. Anyway, if this interests you, make sure you click the link below and join me in my private Discord room where I discuss all these tickers on a day-to-day basis from 7 a.m. till about 10:30, 11, Monday through Friday, except for Monday. Monday I start at 9. Other than that, thank you guys for watching this video, and for educational purposes only, as always, and have a good one.